Bonjour, bonsoir. How are you, dear friends? We are building the most inspiring and phenomenal communities of wine lovers. As we all know, wine is the catalyst of the greatest discussion. We'll be talking wine, but of course food, and everything that touches all our emotion and senses. Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends. Welcome to JCB Live Happy Hour. This is going to be fun. We are meeting Raj Parr, friend of mine of so many years. I got to meet Raj at RN74 in San Francisco that he created with Michael Mina, one of the most successful restaurants in San Francisco of its day and one of the most comprehensive wine lists. Over 85 pages of wine, mainly Burgundy, which made me very happy, and an amazing program. Raj is an American Indian from India all the way to America, studied in Calcutta University, graduated, and then from hospitality to another hospitality school, the CIA. Obviously been very successful and one of the very few sommelier moving into becoming a winemaker. So Raj, for many years now, over 10 years, have owned his vineyards in the Central Coast, in beautiful Santa Barbara, Santa Ynez, and many other places, and has created an incredible portfolio of wonderful wines that he makes. In fact, he just came out of the vineyard to be with us and to share with us his passion for wine. He's written a great book with Jordan McKay on the sommelier and the art of wine and being a sommelier. And I would say, dear friends, he's probably one of the most acclaimed sommelier today in the world, and he deserves every bit of it. We used to see each other every year religiously in Burgundy, and I know his love for Pinot will take him there again. Dear friends, please welcome our very good friend, the famous Raj Parr.
Hey.
Raj, bonjour.
How are you?
I'm so excited to see you. You're looking so good, like a farmer now.
Yeah, I was just in the vineyard, so, you know, it's nice to be seeing you. I haven't seen you in so many years.
Well, cheers. It's so exciting. Let's have a little toast with our JCB no dosage, because I know you love wine with little dosage, right?
You know it.
So Raj, how does it feel, before you tell me what you think of the wine, to have traded the beautiful suit, the gorgeous tie, the charming, elegant Raj?
Now we are like this.
I love it.
I know, it's such a different time, a different life, but, you know, trying to make the best of it. So no complaints.
Well, you're making the best of it. So how does it work? First, I want to toast to your success, because it's very rare to see someone coming first from India and succeed so much into the Western world of hospitality and sommelier. Number two, to become a winemaker and having such a wonderful wine program. So how do you do this? Tell us.
Thank you. You know, working the restaurant floor for 18 years, I was always, you know, I knew that I will not be working the floor every single night. So, you know, I met my partner, Sashi Moorman, who then we planted vineyards, and we started 3 wine companies. And, you know, it's been an amazing journey. And it has just, you know, has always had new challenges, as you know, and we've had a great, I guess it's been 15 years we've been making wine together. And I don't know, it seems like just yesterday, but it's been 15 years. And yeah, it's amazing.
I love it. So first, you're a great somm. So tell us what you think about this one, which is a zero dosage Napa Valley Blanc de Blanc, Raj.
It's amazing. I mean, you know, kind of funny. I was like, wow, what is it? Did he make a champagne? I look at the label. I'm like, oh, okay. And you know me, I like it dry and crisp and fresh. This is definitely, you know, checks all the boxes. It's really impressive. Wow, cool.
Thank you. So Raj, let's dive into you. You know, the first time I met you, I observed that beautiful bracelet you have on your wrist. Exactly. And you come from, as you know, one of my favorite country in the world for the people, for the religion, the philosophy, more the philosophy of life than anything else. So tell us your view of life, your meaning of life, because I know everybody would love to hear that.
Yeah, I came from a very, medium class, humble family in Calcutta. My grandparents moved to Calcutta from Pakistan after the India-Pakistan separation. And I lived in Calcutta till I was 18 years old. And, food was always the center of our family's life. So I was always interested in food and cooking with my grandmother and my mother. And that's how the journey started. And, I didn't even taste wine until I think I was 20 years old when I was in London. So food was always the center. And in India, as you know, when I came to New York for the first time to go to culinary school, I had never seen a box of milk. I thought the milkman came with milk and milk, or you go buy vegetables, you go to the market and the guy has, a basket of vegetables and you buy, and the butcher will give you the meat and the fisherman will give. So, there was no concept of a grocery store. So even today, I enjoy living in Santa Barbara because I can go to the farmer's market and buy my food and yeah.
But you probably milk your own cows now because you have amazing vineyards and you follow organic and biodynamic farming.
Yeah, not yet because our cows are living in a very big place. But the new vineyard I'm going to be farming, we already have cows, and yeah, out there probably we'll be doing our own sheep and goats, and we already have cows there. So yeah.
Yeah, but before we move into the world of wine, Raj, give us the philosophy of life that you share with all the employees you've had, because you've opened over 30 restaurants with Michael Mina all around the United States and around the world, because I've met you in many of those. And you have a certain approach of life. Would you please share that, your philosophy of life?
So, I grew up in a religious place, of course, in Calcutta. My parents and everyone were very spiritual. My mom is very spiritual. I followed the kind of Hindu life growing up in Calcutta. And then I kind of veered away when I came to the US and to more into Buddhism. I had a chance to meet His Holiness Dalai Lama a few times, and my life is in that direction. Though I believe in all religion, everyone is one, and for me the most important thing is to be humble and honest, and live an inward life. Of course, have fun, do everything else, but always remember where you came from, and always respect everyone's emotion, everyone's feeling, everyone's religion, whatever they are, because we have to live like that in this world. Because if we are living as individuals and only thinking about ourselves, then we're never a part of the community. And community is a big part, as you know. I've known you for many years, and I've been lucky to work with Michael Mina and Patrick and many people who have been associated with, and we are one community, one family, and we will never, ever change that.
I love that in you. And explain as well that philosophy of life in India, because what always strikes me in India is the parents with 4 kids on a little motorbike with a huge smile, those beautiful white teeth, and happiness. And that joie de vivre, in a sense that it's not by what you have, but how you are. Isn't it the truth?
Absolutely. And and something which is very important is respecting elders, because in the Western world you don't always respect. I mean, as kids, as little kids, you always are taught that the elders, no matter if they're your family, even if they're friends, you respect them, you touch their feet, get their blessing, and you pay attention to elders. You don't leave them. Even if you leave them, you leave your house, you always respect the elders, and that is something you learn from them. You listen to them, don't talk over them, don't argue with them. That's something the East is very, very strong on, I think, and it shows when you go there. You see grandparents, great grandparents all together with the kids, and the family is very, very tight. Yeah.
I love it. And is it how you were raised as well with your grandparents too?
Absolutely. Yeah. Both my grandmothers were the closest people in my life. When I lost my grandmother, it was like, one of the biggest losses of my life. It's very, 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 of course, cycle life, you lose people, but it was something I still think of her. And I remember her cooking for me, because she would cook for me and she would not eat until she would cook for me, watch me eat. And then after I'm done, then she would sit. And
we have very similar grandmothers, and that's why I love your philosophy of life. And I want to make sure, people hear that, because they see your wine collection, they see the people we all know, and everybody thinks we live like some of the people we know, but we don't. A simple life is often the most rewarding life, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, for sure. It's I think simplicity is one of the epitomes of happiness, because if you always surround yourself with humble things and simplicity and life, and live with people you love and have people who you love around you, like family and friends, it's because it's like, I haven't seen you in so many years, and here you are. We can talk about whatever. We can talk about wine, people, anything, and because it's not like, there's no forced feeling. And that's just because the friendship, it starts in a neutral setting. There's no stuff around. It's not about money or wine or what. It's just about just simplicity and happiness.
Exactly. So, Raj, as we're going to move to your wine and we're going to come back to the philosophy of life, I want to share a fun story. You remember you came to Burgundy with Joe Schoendorf at Domaine de la Vougerie, and I will never forget. So, dear friends, all of you listening tonight, this is mid-August. He came at the end of September. Harvest was starting. Many magnums, 3 liters, 9 liters of champagne, because you don't bring Burgundy to Burgundy. Mm-hmm. And we did a blind tasting, which was magic. And Raj remembered in his mind and guessed the 1929 Roederer Grand Cru. Isn't it true?
Yeah.
How did you do that, frankly?
I don't know. I had that wine once before, and it was pretty special. I think it was 28.
1928, exactly, the day before the crack. Do you actually, as I'm going to pour the rosé, because obviously we're very thirsty here. We never have a glass empty together, so I finish my bubbles. So how do you give friends who are with us today some advice, Raj? What strikes me always when I taste with you is you have an incredible memory. You have a memory of taste and a memory of aromatic expressions of wine. So how do you practice? How do you advise people to do so?
So I was very lucky to work with Larry Stone at Rubicon between 96 and 99. And Larry has a reputation of being one of the best wine tasters in the world. And so he trained me. He used to do the Saturday classes and give us, 6 to 8 wines blind. And that's how it started. And then when I was working for him as his assistant, he used to come in the middle of service and hand me a glass and give me a glass with like that much wine, like one little sip. He said, Raj, what is it? And I'm like, Larry, I'm busy. No, Raj, right now, what is it? And I would have to smell it within seconds and tell him what it was. And for example, if he give me a sip, and I was like, oh, Larry, I think it's 89 Lynch Barge. No, you're wrong. It's 90 Lynch Barge. So he was very hard on me, because he was like, if I miss one vintage or an appellation or producer, so he trained me like to be very fast. And then after I started practicing myself, I used to just like buy many bottles of wine and just, put it in a brown bag and put it aside and then pour it for myself and like taste. And every night ask all the waiters and all my assistants to make me taste and just kind of practice. Practice
is your advice. Do you take notes as well? Do you have a black book?
You have to take notes because notes will tell us our mind what we're tasting and, tell us what the notes we're tasting and then tells the mind what it is. Yeah, very important. I mean, I have notes back from the mid-90s, even before Rubicon of wines I've tasted, handwritten books and books, and yeah, lots of them.
I love it because I'm the same. I love to take copious notes. If you're willing to share it, and then you can describe the rosé, which would be great, what is your technique of ranking wines? Do you have a system that you always use?
Yes, I follow the late Michael Broadbent's ranking wines. So I don't give wine points. I give wine stars.
Yeah.
So on a 1 to 5, and then also he used to put. He wrote the best book on wine tasting in my mind, and he used to write the note, and he used to give it, like, for example, if the wine is 5 stars, a young wine, for example. Say, for example, we give the number 0, it would be like, say, 5 stars, but say 5 stars with 4 and 1 in bracket. That means that it's right now 4 stars, and it's going to become, because 5 stars is the highest, or it'll be 3 stars plus 1 in bracket. So it's going to potentially become, after it matures, it'll be a 4-star wine, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes he would put a barrel sample, all of it in 4 stars.
Yes.
It would potentially, when it's bottled, be a 4-star wine. So
that's right. I love that system as well. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah. So, it says, what I dream of is an art of balance.
Yeah.
Dear friends, this was a very famous painter we all love named Henri Matisse, which is on the back of the label of this magnificent Rosé Pinot Noir made by the charming beard man that you have in front of you. So, Raj, tell us about this wine.
Yeah, so the rosé is from a small vineyard in Edna Valley, and it's 100% Pinot Noir, whole cluster pressed, and aged in old barrels, bottled in February, and no additives, organic vineyard, and just a little bit of sulfurite bottling, and super fresh and super clean, and it's a California appellation because we don't want to put the Edna Valley on it. Just keep it California appellation because we make a rosé a little bit. We only make a few hundred cases every year.
Delightful.
Yeah, it's just fresh and easy.
And I love it. There's no capsules, so you go directly into the wine, right?
Exactly. No capsules, so no waste. Just it's easy drinking, fresh.
So Raj, as I'm going to serve the Chardonnay as well, give us your philosophy on Pinot Noir, because, dear friends, I've had the opportunity to meet Raj really when I first came to the US, and I was so impressed by his knowledge of Burgundy that there was no one I've ever met since that time that knew Burgundy to the parcelle, to the row, to everything about it. So Raj, no, he's a fanatic of Pinot, and he's very known for combating certain philosophies on Pinot Noir, which obviously I share. So Raj, give us your philosophy on Pinot.
So overarching ideas, I think that Pinot Noir is, of course, the most complex and most interesting grape variety. It's all depending on where it's from, the farming. All our vineyards we own are all farmed organically and biodynamically. We use copious amounts of whole cluster, so full bunch fermentation. We ferment it in concrete vats with no temperature control, no additives. We don't add anything in the wine except for sulfurite bottling.
Yeah.
And no fining, no filtration. And we really kind of want to capture the fruit elements, but also all the secondary, all the different spices. And you taste the wine, you see all the earthy flavors, not just fruit flavors. And that's very important for us, and to capture the essence of the place. It's not about the technique or the person. That's why we don't put our names on the labels. It's about the appellations for the place. It's about where it comes from.
I'm with you. And your technique is obviously very dear to my heart as well. It gives me goosebumps because it's Burgundy techniques, traditional winemaking techniques. I need to confess, the Chardonnay is mind-blowing. And I'm going to share with Patrick and Dylan here that they're looking at me with jealousy. I have that great rosé, so gentlemen, you may have it. Our master have said yes. My Maharaja. Yeah, so this Chardonnay, wow. Any comments on this?
Yeah, so this is a Central Coast Chardonnay 2019. This is from 7 different parcels, starting from Santa Lucia Highlands all the way down to Santa Rita Hills. Mostly it's 50% Santa Rita Hills.
Yeah.
Also includes the vineyard in Cambria, Edna Valley, and in Santa Lucia Highlands. All barrel fermented, ambient fermentation, so it's natural yeast, no sulfur added in the grapes, only at bottling. And just fresh, full malolactic fermentation, just made in a very traditional way. There's nothing, no tricks, no additives, just fresh, crunchy, vibrant Chardonnay from Central Coast. Yeah.
Extremely delightful and very vibrant, very bright, and very inspiring. On that note, let's move away from wine for 1 second.
Yes.
Tell us, you and I have shared, obviously, our dream to make wine in India and our phenomenal transformation of Indian people enjoying not just whiskey, but great wines as well. Where do you think is India heading now in terms of wine production and wine appreciation?
Wine production, I haven't tasted too many wines from India, unfortunately, even though I was there last November. I was supposed to go back this November. I started a small wine import company. So we import some wines into India, very small, mostly all Burgundy. And that's been really fun. Wine production, I think that it's very hard. There are certain places you can grow grapes. As you know, the problem is the monsoon.
Yeah.
When you get 6 inches of rain in July and August, it changes things a little bit. So growing Vitis vinifera is very challenging. You have to have a lot of foresight and investment to create something very special.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are working. You have a project in India, and it's a dream I have. One day maybe we'll do something. But
of course, with pleasure.
But wine consumption is definitely growing. I went for dinner to a restaurant in Mumbai, and my partner there invited some friends for a dinner to have dinner with me. Like I think like 6-8 people, and everyone was invited to bring bottles. And I tell you, when I was there that night, we could be sitting in London, Paris, New York, because the wines they brought, I was like Burgundy, First Cote Bordeaux, there was Jura, there was German wine. I was like, mind was blown, and everyone was so they were so knowledgeable about the wines. I tell you, it was. I'm inspired to go back. So too bad I can't go back this year, but hopefully soon.
Well, we look forward, and you're going to have to see J Noon. I'll send you some bottles so you could try them. And I'm very excited. You and I had a discussion years ago about Indian food and wine pairing. What type of food do you think in India is phenomenal and very conducive to fine wine like yours?
So you probably don't know this. I have a very small Indian restaurant with my friend Alejandro in Santa Barbara.
No.
Yeah, it's called BBG.
I love it.
So I'm in charge of all the cooking and the recipes. I'm not there every night, but we have 3 guys in the kitchen, and I tell them, I do the recipes, and I go and I'm there every Saturday working with them. So I have kind of figured out what works, what doesn't work.
Okay.
I'm doing the Chardonnay is the trickiest. So we don't have any Sandhi there because the Chardonnay is tricky. Chardonnay and Pinot are tricky.
Ah. I
know. Gamay, Syrah, sparkling wine works really well.
Okay.
Chenin Blanc, and what's amazing is orange wine and Indian food. You wouldn't believe it. It's crazy, but Chardonnay, Pinot are the trickiest two varieties to pair the Indian food.
Maybe we should introduce Trousseau from the Jura too.
Exactly.
Kind of a fun one.
I also have 2 Trousseau vineyards that we grow grapes.
In California?
In California.
You must be the only one.
I have Trousseau, Poulsard, Sauvignon, Mondeuse, all this.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, I got to come down and I'll bring our Henri Mer wine.
Of course.
and we'll do some fun tastings. This is very exciting.
Yeah, please.
I'm really very bullish, Raj, about this. So what's the name of the restaurant so we can all go?
BBG, BIBIJI, BBG.
Perfect. Well, we'll make sure we indicate for everyone as soon as they go to Santa Barbara, they have Indian food.
Yeah.
Prepared by you. I love it.
No, it's really fun. Right now, of course, we are only doing outdoor seating, the patio, but yeah.
And maybe, Raj, just before we move to your fabulous Pinot.
I have your Chardonnay here. The Deloche.
Yeah, so let's taste it. This is a Chardonnay I wanted you to try because you're a very big fan of organic and biodynamic farming, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about it. This is one of those vineyards in Marin County. This is a wonderful doctor, Mr. Stubbs, who is a great star with his wife. He's a few meters away from the ocean. You know, Marin County is spectacular, beautiful. And this is the wine Brian Maloney at Deloche Vineyards. Brian, you've met many times, makes those great wines. So I'd love your opinion. And well, the Marin County, forgive me, is the Pinot. This is actually same organic, but this is the Heinz Chardonnay.
Heinz. Okay, yeah, of course. I know the vineyard well. I've been there. In fact, I once made a wine, a Chardonnay from the Heinz vineyard in 2008. Crazy. Just as before I started Sandhi, I made a little bit of wine.
Well, talking about wine you've made and great memories, how fun was it when the whole Michael Mina restaurant came to Deloche?
Oh my God.
For a pool party.
That was the best pool party. I'll never forget. Oh my God. We got so much trouble on the way back.
Well, and nobody wanted to leave. I wish we stayed for a few days.
Oh my God. That was so much fun. Wow.
And that was a few kilometers away from this vineyard.
Yeah. No, this is delicious. It was 2015?
2015.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, no, really. I mean, really aging slowly. It's still very fresh and great texture and mouthfeel. Yeah.
Yeah, explain to people as well, Raj. Let's talk about two things. Aging white wine, because so many think we should drink the vintage of the year we're in or the year before.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not true. We should really venture to older. And tell us about your philosophy on organic and biodynamic as well.
Yeah, so first of all, the idea that white wine, you drink only young and fresh, depending on the wine. But of course, the top Chardonnays, the top white Burgundies, the Chardonnay from Burgundy, they can age decades. The oldest bottle of white Burgundy I've had is 1864 Merceau Perrier.
Oh, too.
Yeah, so I've had, of course, many others. But, you know, I'm not saying every wine has to age 100 plus years, but a great vintage white Burgundy from a great vineyard can easily age 20, 30, 50 years, no problem. It just depends on the structure of the wine, where it's grown and how it's made. So anyway, that definitely, and this is a 2015, which is still very fresh. This wine is easily 20 more years with no problem at all. So
no, thank you. That's important to outline because I want to make sure people build cellars. You know, you have an amazing cellar. You've built incredible collection with a lot of depth, and you're talking about 19th century wines right now. We want to buy wine for our children and grandchildren, not for us.
But that's what wine was before wine became what it is. You know, back in the day, there wasn't so many wines. There were just few wines made. You know, Bordeaux, Burgundy, Alsace, Champagne. You know, and Moselle. Some places in Italy, but still it was France and these wines were all made for the next generation. They were not made to be drunk. If you don't drink it from the barrel, once it's bottled, you put it away and you drink it after 20, 30 years. You don't open a 2019 or 18 right now. You keep, but of course, those were very small quantities. It wasn't made in quantities as made today.
And don't you think organic and biodynamic wine even age better?
100%. And you know, back in the day, the word organic wasn't even used. So when I was starting a sommelier in '96, we never asked, is it organic or biodynamic? Because, you know, things have changed. You know, we've gone through 2 world wars, and If you remember the Industrial Revolution and all, the herbicides, fertilizers, they were all kind of, an epidemic in the 60s and 70s, and then slowly started getting out of there in the 80s. And now, I remember going to Burgundy for the first time in 96. Nobody was plowing, nobody was doing anything. They were still still living on the laurels. And now you go to Burgundy and everyone is in the vineyard and everyone is, focusing more. It's a whole, change in the idea. I think the younger generation is definitely kind of taking the vineyards more into, sustainability and organic and biodynamic for sure.
Which is really the only way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, you have Domaine, which is, wasn't it biodynamic from the beginning, 99?
Yeah, we started, my sister and I, in 98, and first vintage 1999, which you kindly, collected since day one. You were a very big supporter at RN74 and all the Michael Mina restaurant, wherever you've been. And I want to thank you for that. And you were a big believer. We started really horse plowing, organic, and biodynamic. And in a matter of 4 years, short 4 years, we became fully certified. And we've never looked back. And the wines are certainly so complex and interesting and earthy and cosmic and magnetic and radiant, all of that. But talking about great wines, I picked a small glass today, as you could see, because I'm having a grand wine, which needs a phenomenal wine glass.
Is that 17? Yeah, 17 centimeter hills. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Too short glass.
Yeah, nice. Small glass.
Well, your wine deserves the air, the oxygen that brings in and transforms it. I've opened it 45 minutes ago. It's amazing, the evolution of the wine.
Amazing, great. Yeah, so that is mostly from our own vineyard, from Domaine de la Cote, our own estate vineyard, and a little bit from Sanford Benedict. That's the blend, and there's a blend of whole cluster and destemmed, all neutral barrels, aged for 14 months and bottled without any finding filtration. Everything is natural yeast and little sulfur bottling. That's it.
Love it. Well, delightful. We'll talk more about it, but give us your stance and philosophy on alcohol, specifically at the level of it in certain wines. And you rightfully so vocal fight on the fact that wine should be under a certain percentage level.
Yeah, I like wines. I love drinking wine. I love drinking a whole bottle of wine. Yeah. But if it's, 14,
look at what I'm going to do today.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, my God. That's a decanter.
Patrick and Dylan, this is going to be mine. I told you, she fits right in. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
I like wines when they're like 12, 13% alcohol. You can, enjoy them, drink them over time. Yeah. Wow. Where's my camera? Get a photo of.
I'll send you a picture. Yeah. I'm excited. Look at this.
Yeah, exactly. I need a poster of that in my house.
Yeah. Well, I'll send you one of those. Yeah. I'll send you one of the glass we make, which is that, phenomenal decanter, and you could put it on the table or even virtually drink from it as I'm doing now.
Wow. That's amazing.
So come back on that philosophy, because I think it's very important that we debate this and we talk about it, and there's truth so much into it.
I like the freshness. I like the vibrancy. I like the crunch in Pinot Noir. I don't like them soupy, heavy. The alcohol also, the certain energy which kind of comes to you with the sip of wine, And I think you get that with the wine, which is nothing. Yeah, Cabernet is different. Zinfandel is different. They can be 14, 15% is different because the chemistry of the wine is different. But for Pinot Noir, for the elegance, it needs to be around between 12.5 and 14, not above, for me. That's a very personal opinion.
And why do you love, Raj, Pinot Noir so much? Because I've rarely seen you. Yeah, you mentioned Bordeaux. You've mentioned, I'm sure, a few Napa Valley Cabernet that you've enjoyed, but I don't remember seeing you ever drinking anything but Pinot.
Well, Pinot does have the nuance. The nose is so exotic. I mean, I'm having your Deloche, your Stubbs, Marin County 14. The aromatics are great. They have that kind of different spices from like a light cherry to plum, depending where it's grown. And yeah, so this is more on the cherry, sour cherry. Also you get this kind of, I love mushrooms and truffles and all these exotic spices, cardamom, cinnamon, sandalwood, flavors of beet and pomegranate. All these, you get the nuance in Pinot Noir. You get it, of course, in other wines also, but for me, the perfume of Pinot Noir is like none other. That's what I'm addict of.
So does Pinot inspires you?
Oh my God, it's the ultimate. The nuance, the spices, the layers. I don't think any other grape can even come close.
So Raj, more personally now, because we could feel the vibrational personality you have. And if our friends listening did not know you, now they have the taste and the flavor of the person. Now you have the Stubbs, of course, that's the Marin County. Tell me, I've never asked you this question. What really drives you, inspires so much Raj Parr?
For me, it's the people, because the people who kind of strive to do whatever they do in their world. For me, as you know, what Burgundy was my focus for so many years. I used to go there 4 or 5 times a year, 6 times a year. And it was all the individuals who were working the vines, making the wine, and the imprint of their soul was in the wine, right? And I think for me, wine is just not a glass of alcohol. Wine for me is the reflection of the person. So the people I love, the farmers, the winemakers, and their imprint. And for me, that is my inspiration. That's what I strive to be and strive to do. Me and my partner, Sashi, the wines we make is a combination of both our spirits in a glass.
So well said. And this is very true, dear friends, because as we tasted wine with Raj, it was more about who we were, what we were doing, and our philosophy and our personality, even more than the wine itself. And that's how we became friends, of all things. And that's what I love. So, little digression, Raj. You still play very good squash. I know that.
Not bad.
Hey, dear friends, he made me sweat. He made me run. He beat me up at squash all the time. And we had so much fun because we would say in San Francisco, before going out, of course, and Raj, before going to the restaurant, we'd better have a good sweat. So we would play squash. So I missed that. So we're going to play again, I hope soon.
I know all the squash courts are closed in Santa Barbara right now. So I've been playing tennis. We can play tennis together.
Even better. So Raj, what is your passion besides wine and food?
I love reading. I've been reading a lot of Buddhist books, and I'm always very, very curious to see and to understand some people who are inspired by spirituality. So there's a guy called Jeff Foster. I've been Matt Licata. I've been following these guys. They are not necessarily of any religion, but they use their words as humans as we live. Bring our spirituality without religion. So that's something which I've been kind of studying recently because I came from a Hindu background and then I embraced Buddhism. And now I'm just looking at people who are inspiring other people because there's so much turmoil in our life, in the world around us, and we have to connect with the earth. I walk on the beach every day, and I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary Earthing, to connect our body, our soul with the ground. My mother told me many years ago, she says, make sure you spend some time walking barefoot, either on grass or on something barefoot. So, of course, the beach is a mile away from where I live. So I walk on the beach every day, like I will today, barefoot, to connect with, and I feel I think more and I have that connection with this crazy world we live in. And I want to believe in this world. I don't want to give up on the world, because it's easy to say, forget the world, I'm out. So there we go. That's what I'm into.
I'm with you. I live by the principle. And my lovely daughters, we have twins with Gina, they're 9 years old, and they love to walk barefoot. And I've always wondered why. And I've always said, and I have in my vanity area, a tagline written by Native Americans that says, take off your shoes and caress the skin of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And as you said that, it makes me think maybe that's why the girls are walking barefoot everywhere.
Amazing. Because they're getting so much energy from Mother Earth. If you read about it, there's many articles written. I didn't know until recently. Somebody sent me a little documentary on earthing and the connectivity of our soul with the earth. Yeah.
Where else do you get your incredible energy? Because I haven't seen you in a few years, and you're the same and even more powerful spiritually. And even though we're through a screen and we're connecting through Zoom or a live session, I could still feel it. So explain us that.
Leaving the city, I lived in San Francisco for 18 years.
Yeah.
And coming to Santa Barbara, a small town, still a city, but a small town, and just focusing on the food, what we eat, what we drink, and how we live. I think those things have been very, very important. Never forgetting, even though we live in a fast-paced life and we have phones and computers and fast cars and whatever else, machines, to come back to work with your hand, to come back with, staying connected to Mother Nature. You live in Napa, that being there is so fulfilling. And I think that's the only thing I do. I don't, of course I've traveled a lot, doing research for our books and selling wine, and now just staying home in this kind of crazy time and trying to connect with Mother Nature has been the biggest and the greatest blessing.
Well, I think you've succeeded, and you've made a good friends with you. I always used to say as a young child, she's my best friend, and I think she'll remain as such.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Maybe two more questions, Raj. I know you want to go and walk on the beach. This is going to be the right time to do so. And
no, it's okay. I go usually around 6 o'clock or so it's okay. No problem.
Great. Well, I have a great friend for the evening, so I don't need any other friends. I have you with me. So what is your dream? You've done the move from India to the US, built an incredible life for yourself, became one of the most prominent master sommelier in the world. Now you're a great, incredible winemaker, a great friend, a great athlete. You do all those things. What's your dream?
During this lockdown period, a few months ago, I kind of came to my own thoughts, what I want to do, and I'm going to move to a little town of Cambria. It's like 6,000 people on the coast. I'm going to move there, and we have a small 11-acre 4 vineyards, which I've been grafting over for the last few years. And I'm going to move there and farm that and connect with Mother Nature, farm with animals, learn from friends who've been doing that around the world, and just connect a little piece of land, have a small garden, vegetable garden. While I do everything else, I will not be traveling, but I'll be living there and trying to kind of see how we can do this. And a big inspiration are some people from India, some people books I've read. I wanted to go back and study with them this year, but I can't do that. So I'll be continue reading books, and learning and teaching myself how to farm a piece of land.
Well, when you go to India again, let me know, because I will meet you there, because we've done this year at Christmas, the ladies, Gina and I, with our very close friend Kapil Sikri, our partner, from Fratelli, and obviously Jay Noon. We did 2 weeks, not only just touring, but as well spiritual, phenomenal endeavors. And it was a life-changing experience. And yes, Buddhism is great, but Hinduism is fabulous as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I think they merge so much together. I mean, they have so much in common.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And also, His Holiness lives in Dharamsala, and even though I've never seen him there, I've not been there. I've been very close to Dharamsala, and Hinduism and Buddhism came from Hinduism, so it's
that's right. Maybe that's a trip one day we do. Here we go. We found a destination.
When we can travel again, trust me, it's the first place I want to go. So
well, let's do it together. If you up for it, I'll meet you there.
I would love that. That'd be great.
And I promise, though, there's one thing we cannot not do is not bring a bottle of wine.
That's right, at least.
So maybe, Raj, is there a secret you want to share that you've never shared that maybe it's the mature time to do so?
A secret? Oh, sure. I have maybe people who know me know this, that I love cooking more than anything else.
Yes.
That's something, and that's a very something which brings out a lot of joy, because it reminds me of my grandmother, because I remember how much love she had for cooking. So I would, I find cooking like more interesting and more invigorating than any one thing in the whole world. So
really,
there you go. Yes.
So having more restaurant or?
Oh, no, not restaurant, home. You come, I cook for you in the house. That for me, that is the most magical thing, I could ever do. And
I've never known. So that's a great secret to share, because I knew you knew a lot about food. I know obviously your wine repertoire, but I never knew you were cooking. So it's a good secret to share. We'll be visiting you very soon.
I can't wait.
Now, Raj, you're a very wise man as well. And this is what I love with you. And I'm going to say, frankly, to everybody, what I love is you've never lost your fabulous sense of self, your friends, who you are, and where you come from, and what you want to do in life. And you've always lived according to those principles, which I love. And you're a true friend in all that sense, and that how that means. So I would love for you maybe to share a big message to everybody listening today, a large message, a wide message, whatever you have in mind that you want to send to the world.
Well, I think that we must respect Mother Nature. I think that the situation we are today, right now, is because we have been greedy and we have taken more than we've given. Yes. And I think that all of us together can make a difference and give back to Mother Nature what she deserves. And she deserves respect. She deserves time. She needs to rebuild. This is the time off we've had. So in a very small way for me, is my farm, which I'm going to be starting right now. And all of us together can plant a little garden in the back, grow some tomatoes, have an herb garden. Don't use fertilizers. Don't use any chemicals. Grow it with compost you can make yourself. You can buy some manure. You can make a barrel compost. You can buy compost, but just to give back a little piece, have some pots. Just don't take so much from what she gives us, but give back in a small way. And I think if you all do it a little bit, we'll make the world a better place.
I told you Raj was wise, and I knew he had to connect back to Mother Nature. I love it. Raj, thank you immensely. One for our friendship.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. It's a pleasure. Hopefully I'll see you in person very soon.
And thank you, Raj, for being the great leader that you are, the great inspiration that you always exude. And, I'm going to have a great wine tonight.
There you go. I got 3 bottles, so perfect.
Hey, thank you, Raj. Congratulations. And to your continued success and your fabulous friendship and inspiration.
Thank you, JSP. Thank you.